Hey, it's Joddie Taylor of SnackySays. Welcome back to my podcast, the SnackySays podcast. So, a couple of weeks ago, I got the idea in my head to do a What I Eat in a Day podcast episode for you all. And as these things go, I, of course, immediately the next day began to eat differently. I was like, this is a sure bet, this episode, because I always eat the same things. It's the same two things with snacks, no problem. But of course, the last 2 weeks have been rife. I just feel like saying that word, rife with change. I'm getting back on track to eating how I usually eat. But it doesn't feel right to do a what I eat in a day because there's been so much variety. And the premise was like what I always eat in a day. So instead, I thought I would share my recipe for overnight oats. Today is the first time I'm eating overnight oats in almost 2 weeks. I'm getting back on track. Got all my ingredients on hand. So I thought I would share that recipe. I've spoken about overnight oats before in our February 2022 SnackySays newsletter. I'll put that link in the show notes. So what are overnight oats? They are literally oats that you mix with dry and wet ingredients, put in a refrigerator overnight, or if you want it the same day, I guess you could take it out 6 to 8 hours later. I've rarely done that. I just prefer overnight. I always feel like it feels a little tough or something, like I didn't wait long enough. It's a pretty easy meal prep. There's no cooking. You again mix your dry ingredients, wet ingredients, and put it in the refrigerator. That is it. So let me walk you through what I do. I'm going to give you I'll just do it now. My inspiration for what I ended up with for my overnight oats recipe. Two YouTubers, Kayla Chandler and the Cooking Foodie. And then more recently, since I last spoke about this back in February 2022, I would definitely add Lizelle Jane, also on YouTube. So I'll put the links to their overnight oats videos and blog posts in the show notes. So over time, I've experimented with different measurements and different ingredients. And here's where I am in October. Wait a minute, are we in November? November 2023. So dry ingredients. I start out with 1 scoop of Orgain vegan protein powder. Half of the protein in my particular overnight oats recipe comes from this. It's about 10 grams of protein, and in total, the whole dish is about 22 grams of protein. So scoop, and any flavor, whatever I have on hand. Sometimes I just get what's on sale. So I've had strawberries and cream. I've had chocolate peanut butter, chocolate, cookies and cream, whatever. Put that in there. Next, I put some ground cinnamon or ground pumpkin spice. Next, I put 10 grams of chia seeds, which is about a tablespoon of chia seeds, and then 10 grams of raisins, which is about, again, a tablespoon of raisins. Then I put 3/4 cup of old-fashioned rolled oats. Mix. There's a YouTuber that said that. Why am I blanking on her name? Honeysuckle. She says mix. So you mix that. And by the way, this is in a 2-cup container. You'll see in the overnight oats videos, some folks use like cute jars. I don't use jars. I use a Pyrex 2-cup storage container or a Ziploc. Again, 2-cup storage container. It's the twist and lock one, which I like because nothing leaks. So mix those dry ingredients, and then I add 3/4 cup water. What you'll see when you go through recipes and overnight oat videos is that most folks, I think all folks at least that I've watched, they add milk, soy milk, almond milk, milk. I realized that soy upsets my stomach, but what can I do? So I'm lactose intolerant. So I have cut down on soy. And so here I now use water instead of soy milk. I still put soy milk in my coffee because come on, this tummy gonna rumble. I can't give up everything. Be subsistent on bamboo sprouts, bean sprouts, and water. Get out of here. Not you. I just mean get out of here, tummy. Work with me. Okay, so yeah, that's what I put in. So I put water. It does taste different at first, but now I don't notice it. It didn't take me long to get used to putting water in instead of soy milk. But if you want something creamier, sure, yeah, put milk in. Okay, so you mix that up. And then I add a cup of frozen fruit. I usually do cherry berry blend. It's my favorite. If you have a Walmart, you can get it at Walmart. It's the Great Value brand. But I'm sure there's plenty of brands that has a cherry berry blend. I like it because it has cherries. And it has like two different types of cherries. I don't love the strawberries that come in it, but it depends on the pack. Sometimes they're not that many strawberries, and sometimes I feel like we're the cherries in this thing. Another yummy option are frozen blueberries, and again, I just put a cup. Not often, but sometimes I will just mix the wet ingredient, meaning the water, mix it with the dry ingredients, put in the fridge, and then the next day chop up a fresh fruit like an apple, and then put it on top and eat it that way. So I generally use frozen fruit and just put in the fridge overnight, but sometimes I will add an apple or like a banana, like a fresh fruit to the frozen fruit. So it turns into like a kind of big fruity overnight oats bowl, but I just eat out of the container. I don't put in another bowl. Yeah, so that's it. So you'll see in February 2022, I was eating much differently, or not eating. Well, yes, I was, but my toppings were different. So back then I was putting shredded coconut and like chocolate gems. I think it was 10 grams of chocolate gems, if I'm not mistaken. If you care about the measurements. But nowadays I don't do that. And I suppose, if I do another overnight oats update a year or so from now, it'll change. Like here, it says almond sunflower seeds. I don't put nuts anymore in my overnight oats. I tend to eat them separately. Every once in a while. Oh, you know what's not here? Peanut butter. So I'll put like a tablespoon or half a tablespoon of peanut butter on top. I'm doing that more and more. I would say often. Sometimes I just feel like a little something. So yeah, that's my overnight oats recipe. Look at me, under 8 minutes. Here we go. It is going to be short and sweet. And I'll put the resources in the show notes. I highly recommend Kayla Chandler, Lizelle Jane, and The Cooking Foodie for ideas and inspiration. Once you start making this, you might find that you like your overnight oats thinner. So you want to add more liquid, or maybe you want it to be creamier. Maybe you don't want protein powder in yours. It's wide open. It's whatever. So I just thought I would chat about this a bit. At some point when I get back to a regular eating routine, which I'm kind of getting back on track now, I will do a proper overnight. I refuse to start this episode over. I will do a proper what I eat in a day podcast episode, because when things are on track, I literally eat the same thing every day. Breakfast is like a dinner breakfast. It's high calorie, hot. Like today I haven't had breakfast yet. I'm going to have like fish, pasta, and some veggies. Boom. And then there'll be snacks. And then later I will have these overnight oats, which you can't see. And then there will be more snacks. I usually do, now I'm getting into that episode, right? Let's save it for the other episode. But I was going to say, I usually do something light for the last meal, something not quite a snack, but not quite a full meal. So again, when I'm back on track, I'll do Oh my gosh, why do I keep tripping up this morning? Let's end here, because I said it'd be short and sweet, and I just couldn't leave well enough alone, and I started down this rabbit hole. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast episode or any of my podcast episodes, please subscribe at joddie.substack.com. That's joddie.substack.com. And please share with a friend or three. I appreciate you. Thank you for listening. I hope you try your own version of an overnight oats recipe. Oh, one thing I should add is I usually eat them fairly cold. I'll put it in the microwave for like 45 seconds, maybe 40 seconds, but I don't want it hot. The hotter it is, the more it tastes like oatmeal to me. And I'll just make oatmeal if I want oatmeal. I want something that tastes a little bit different and like a treat. And I think this checks the boxes. All right. Thanks again for listening.